This is Rembrandt representation of the Return of Prodigal Son, and you are going to be perhaps surprised that I'm going to focus on two specific elements in this picture, and this is a very high-res picture, so hopefully my computer is going to work more or less correctly. Now, personally, I do not like the representation of the father face. However, I don't think that's what Rembrandt was looking to show you in this painting. There's two elements that I think are worthy of attention. Now, Rembrandt, as I show in another videos, and also I will keep showing in the more videos to come, he's good, perhaps he's good. He is maybe remarkable for two or three things. One of them is reproduction of emotions. Oftentimes, obviously, it's going to be on the face, but this time I think it's on the hands. For some reason, I will let you judge. I feel like this being his left hand is maybe less well done. But look at the right hand. So perhaps you know the story is this son that went away from father's home. Father was pretty rich man, a businessman perhaps, and his son spent a lot of the fortune that he had for himself. He had a rough life then, and then went back to father's home. He also had a brother which he stayed at father's home. I told you this is a very high-res painting, so you are going to see these cracks. I think it's interesting. So the son is returning back to father's home, completely poor, completely poor, and father doesn't blame him for wasting his wealth, also his youth, and he's receiving with much tenderness. That's what it's in the Bible, and you can tell from the body position, but I want really to focus on this right hand. And like I said, Rembrandt to me has this almost unhuman ability to represent emotion. I don't know how you do it, because any painter will have an image in his mind about what he wants to put down in oil, but how do you actually transport, how do you express, how do you put in that amount of oil product emotion? Because just the form of the object is not enough. There must be something else. And I will let you judge. To me, this hand, when I see this hand, I almost feel this hand on myself. It's just like someone is putting his hand on myself. And personally, and I think there are quite a few other people out there, I did almost never receive affection from parents. There was a grandmother that showed me a little bit of affection, but never almost from my parents. And myself, because of that, perhaps I do try to show affection to my children in a way that I never seen in myself in childhood. But maybe because of that, I just have a certain sensibility about emotions, about affection, and so on. And I think when you look at this hand, you don't need to zoom more on this. There is something transpiring from this image. There is something coming out of this image. And it's basically, that's the meaning of this passage in the Bible, is the affection, the love, basically, a love without blaming. And I think Rembrandt did, I don't know, I will let you judge by yourself. I don't want to say more than this. It's particular. I think it's particular. Someone can do that on a painting. Now the person itself, the son, I found it rather, is it me or this person doesn't look Caucasian? To me, perhaps he's shaved a little bit short, but he looks maybe either Arabic or maybe African, or maybe a mix of two, something in that direction. It's interesting. It's interesting. I don't think there is a meaning. Maybe it's just me who maybe get this interpretation, because the father, it's supposed to be Jewish, I believe. Perhaps he's a Jewish person. It's just me. That's just me. I will show you in a moment the person around, but first I want to go down. You see, the clothes have nothing exceptional. So again, the story talks about someone who at some point was feeding himself the sun with pig's food. He was eating the food from pigs, so he was extremely poor. Still, you can see in the clothes, Rembrandt thought that he kept his original thoughts, which were pretty wealthy clothes. And you can tell that it's like there is a hook here. It's metal, maybe even gold. And that's interesting. In my imagination, he wore off his clothes. Perhaps he was wearing something very, very poor, but he also seems to have some sort of a sword or short knife. But what is another central part of this story is his feet, and I'm going to focus in, zoom in very close. There's not special painting at this level. Let me just, because my this playlist, it's all about zooming in. Even if you go at the museum, you will never ever go this close to a painting. You just are not allowed to get this close. You cannot put your nose on the painting to see these tiny cracks, but remember, these are 400 years old cracks in the oil. You can tell the amount of mixing the oil colors. I think it's interesting to get this close to someone's creation, if you want. Now, both the shoes and the legs really tell poverty, and you can tell here it appears right leg, right foot. The shoe does appear to have detached from the sole, and if you look here, it appears like it was a more, quality show or something like this. It looked like there is a certain design to it. Now the left one stays there. If you look at the legs, feet, I'm always mixing legs and feet. The feet are just kind of telling a whole story separately. It's just, anyway, it does indeed express poverty. And also perhaps it expresses more than the face of the person itself. Now, his father was a merchant or something like that. He was rich. And these are the whatever, perhaps co-workers or customers, perhaps, because the son would come back home unexpectedly. So there may have been other people around the place at that moment. Now you can tell this is what Rembrandt does, and it's impressive. But in this painting is not the most impressive. Try to imagine the background here. Not only it's in a sort of the darkness, but also oftentimes this background, it's quite impressive. It's like inside a castle or something like this. If you just can try to imagine all these shadows, but look at the construction itself. Again, he was a rich merchant, so he had a good home. But it's quite impressive, this shadowing of a building that's very imposing and very impressive as well, architecturally speaking. Now this other person here must have been the second son who stayed with his father. He didn't went away, he stayed with his father. And when he sees his brother here just below the painting, he sees his brother coming back home, and father not blaming him for wasting his wealth, because the brother went with, actually he's asking his father to give him his part of wealth, and he goes away in foreign countries or something like that and wasted it. So this other brother who stayed home, very respectful with his father, he's jealous on this returning brother, because he's expecting his father to blame him. He doesn't blame. The father tells him, I love you both the same, but we have to celebrate. And I think he did celebrate for the returning son, because the son has returned and he was lost. So yeah, this seems to be the second brother. He is interesting. The face of him is like, I'm not sure I'm really enjoying this scene. And then when you look in the left upper corner, you do somehow see what happens perhaps to be the mother or the wife. And that's interesting because she does not really participate into this particular welcoming. She's like very different from the husband, very different, at least for that moment. All right, so see you in other Rembrandt paintings. I'll try to expose what I was telling about the emotion on the faces, which I don't think here it's much represented. Yes, I do understand the attitude in the face, but I don't feel much more than that. But I think Rembrandt, and I'll try to show you that he can do, especially in his self-portraits, he can show expression, emotion, and some people would even say soul of a person, the personality of the person. And also I'll try to show you other paintings about this play of Rembrandt between darkness or shadow and light, which is very, very impressive in some of his paintings. So see you next time.